Good morning, this is Joe Huang, broadcasting to you today from the W Hotel for AFI Dallas International Film Festival 2007. And with me this morning is the director of Inland Empire, David Lynch. Welcome, David.
Good to see you, Joe.
Thank you. David, you and AFI go way back. How has AFI helped you in the past, and what is your connection to AFI Dallas?
I was sitting in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and I believe winter was coming on. Philadelphia is called the city of brotherly love, but Philadelphia, when I was there, was a hellhole filled with fear, violence, insanity, corruption, you name it. And it was a fearful place, thick with torment. But I kind of loved it. And I was going to art school. And I had, been sitting in a studio doing a painting of a garden at night. And I see this painting, and I hear from it a wind. And I see the plants start moving. And I thought, oh, a moving painting. And at the Pennsylvania Academy of Fine Arts, they have an experimental painting and sculpture contest at the end of every year. So I thought, I am going to make a moving painting. And I built a sculptured screen, and I stop motioned, pretty crude, 1 minute loop. And I didn't know anything about film. And I got these guys down at this place in Center City a place was named Photorama, and these two guys in there taught me about lighting this board that I could stop motion on. And I presented this 1 minute loop of 6 men getting sick at the experimental painting and sculpture contest, and shared first prize. But I thought that was going to be the end of that, because it cost over $200 to build this thing, and that was way too much money for me. But a guy saw this, a former student, and wanted me to build one for his house. And that started me going back into the world of film. Anyway, one thing led to another, and somewhere in there I thought, well, I would like to apply for a grant from this new organization called the American Film Institute. And I applied. And just after I applied, the first group of winners came out, and they were all big names in the experimental avant-garde, film arena. And I realized I had zero chance of getting a grant. So I kind of gave up on it. And I got this job printing engravings. And I would go out every day and print these engravings. And it was out printing that the phone rang one day, and there was George Stevens Jr. and Tony Villani on the line telling me that I'd won a grant from the American Film Institute, an independent filmmakers grant. And that changed my life totally. It was such a euphoria I felt. I was floating, really floating from then on. And I made a film called The Grandmother, and the grandmother got me accepted to the Center for Advanced Film Studies out in Los Angeles, where I made Eraserhead. So AFI has done so much for me, and I would be probably nowhere without the American Film Institute.
If you weren't involved in the film or the arts at all, if you'd never had that conversation that led you to want to become a painter, if AFI didn't even exist, what other occupation could you see yourself in?
I would be a surgeon, I think, but I'm not sure. I think I would like to do surgeries, but not brain surgery.
Why general surgeries?
I don't know. I've always liked organic phenomenon, and So in it textures of medical procedures and you know textures like this have always got me going, and they find their way into paintings, and sometimes the ideas of those things maybe find their way somehow into film. There's many things in painting that apply to film, but film is much more than just painting.
What was your way of dealing with rejection early on in your filmmaking career, and how do you deal with rejection nowadays?
Well, there's been, what do you mean by rejection?
When the studios say no, or when somebody says, hey, that picture, don't do it.
No, there's never been that for me. When you're a painter, you get an idea. The idea may not be the final painting, but an idea that holds so much hope and inspiration that it gets you out of your chair to start the process of painting. And then sometimes the action and reaction, ideas start flowing, and another thing evolves out of that original idea. This kind of thing, you don't ask anyone's permission to do a painting. It's between you and the paint, and it's a beautiful, beautiful internal process in the world of paint. Film is so much like that. You get an idea, you fall in love with the idea, you see what cinema could do with that, and you're, filled with inspiration and enthusiasm, and you have to do that. Now we live in a world, a digital world, where the price of things has gone way down. We can get a small camera, and we can get some friends that we can get tuned into that same idea, and we can make a feature film. And we can learn by doing, and we can be true to those ideas, and we can work until all the elements feel correct, and we can do that. Studios, what do we need to talk to them for? Only thing is money. The only thing is money. And never should we give up Final Cut. Never should we take a bad idea. Always, if someone gives us a good idea, we should take it. But the director has to make the final decision all the way down the road, or the thing won't hold together. And that final decision is based on the idea. Stay true to the idea. Stay true to the idea. Don't take no for an answer. And studios, they're going to be in the same trouble as the music, industry. This is the world is changed. And so if you get an idea and you fall in love with that, you see what cinema can do with that, then you go.
Compared to your earlier works, you took a slightly different approach with Inland Empire. For the benefit of our audience, what were the differences with this film?
Always, when there's something has been finished and it feels correct and it's done, there's a vacuum. And I say it's like going fishing. A desire for an idea is like a bait. And a bait, you lower that bait on the hook down in there, and maybe you'll catch a new idea that you'll fall in love with. And so, what was your question?
What was the different approach?
Oh yeah, the different approach. So, you catch an idea, but as I say, it might be a small idea. It might be a fragment of the whole that will be revealed later. A small fish or a big fish, but not the whole thing. It's like there's a school of fish waiting, but you've just caught one of that school. And you fall in love with this particular fish, and you write that down, that idea. You write it down. And then you save that, and that beautiful fish now is even more of a bait to catch more of that school. And ideas will come in, married to that original idea, and a story starts evolving. And then all the writing goes together, and one day there's a feature film script. And with the script, like a blueprint for a house, I say, you gather together a crew and you go and shoot that script. In Inland Empire, I would get an idea, catch a fish, a beautiful fish, write it down, and I would shoot that, not knowing if it was going to be a feature. I would shoot a scene, commit to it, shoot it. Then I get another idea for a scene, write it down, shoot it. And the second scene does not relate in any way to the first. I don't see how they could relate. And I get a third, unrelated idea, write it and shoot it. Then, lo and behold, other ideas came showing how these previous things related. Same process, but now, since I'd committed, thank goodness the other ones came, and a bigger thing, started coming. So it was different only in the fact that I shot early ideas instead of just keeping them written.
And what did you like about this new approach?
I didn't like it so much. It just was the way it happened. I think it's probably safer and to gather the ideas and write them and not shoot till the structured, feature film script has been, completed.
If you were given the opportunity to film a fictional short in space, what would the finished product look like?
Well, I don't know, Joe, because I would need to get an idea. Right now, it's a blank sheet of paper or a blank screen. But if I thought about it, if I desired that idea, perhaps one would come swimming along. A fictional short film in space, it could be an infinite number of possibilities. I don't know what it would be.
Gotcha. Today you're going to be promoting a new brand of coffee out in the market. Tell us about that.
This is David Lynch Signature Cup Coffee. It is an exquisite espresso, as an exquisite decaf, and an exquisite house blend. Very, very good flavor, picked by tasting, many blends, different types of coffees. I love coffee, and it has to be a particular way. And so in tasting, I find this taste that I love, this espresso particularly. And I'm tasting it, and then blind tasting it with many others, always picking the one I love in blind tests. I'm putting Starbucks in a blind test with many other things, and picking my coffee above Starbucks, which I love. So it's a very great coffee. And as I say, there are ideas in every bean.
You also have a book coming out, or that just came out in the past year. What's the title of this book and what's it about?
The book is called Catching the Big Fish: Meditation, Consciousness, and Creativity. Meditation is a way to go within, to dive within. In particular, transcendental meditation, which I've been doing for 33 years, since Eraserhead. And transcendental meditation is not a religion, not a cult, not a sect, a mental technique, an ancient form of meditation that allows any human being to go from the surface of life and dive within, experience subtler levels of mind and intellect, and transcend and experience the unbounded, infinite, eternal ocean of pure consciousness, pure creativity, pure intelligence, pure bliss, energy, power, the home of total knowledge. When you experience that deepest level, you enliven it and it grows. Your ball of consciousness begins to expand. Inner happiness begins to expand. Ideas coming up can be caught at a deeper and deeper level as that consciousness expands. Pretty soon you own this subconscious. It's all consciousness. This is a human thing. It's so important for the artist or the businessman, any human being. Transcending is a holistic experience, so all avenues of life begin to improve. The side effect of transcending every day and enlivening that field of unity, pure consciousness, bliss, is negativity begins to recede. Hate, anger, fear, tension, sorrow, depression, these things begin to dissolve, and you live in more and more freedom, strong happiness, flow of creativity, inner happiness, so you enjoy the doing of things so much more. Very, very beautiful.
When you are on the road attending film festivals like at AFI Dallas, how well do you manage to practice transcendental meditation?
Joe, I have been meditating twice a day for 33 years and have never missed a meditation. No matter where you are, what you're doing, you can always find 20 minutes in the morning, 20 minutes in the afternoon to dive within. And the way you feel diving is so beautiful. The way you feel coming out after meditating is you're filled with, energy. You're filled with more and more inner happiness. You're filled with, a kind of an inspiration to go out and realize those ideas that are going to come more and more and more. And you're going to enjoy the doing. So it's just inconceivable to me not to do it. People say, well, I'm too busy, I'm a practical person, I can't sit still, close my eyes for 20 minutes and do this meditation. If they had that experience is so, I say the word unique should be saved for that experience of transcending. So powerful, so blissful, so familiar though. And you want that experience because of what it does for you in your life. And so it's money in the bank to dive within. That deepest level is also known as the treasury. You're going to the treasury every day, getting more and more and more of that.
I want to go back to the coffee and the books.
Sure.
What made you decide to branch out with coffee and book?
The book came out of a tour of 13 universities, 6 on the East Coast, 6 on the West Coast, 1 in the Midwest. And it was, I did a tour with a quantum physicist named Dr. John Hagelin and a brain researcher named Dr. Fred Travis. And I do questions and answers. And those questions and answers are the book. Things that people wanted to know, and there they are in the book. The book is about film, the process of creativity, flow of ideas, how to expand consciousness and creativity. It goes like that. Coffee. My friend Eric Crary said one day, David, maybe you should have your own line of coffee. One thing led to another, and there it is. So it's just at the beginning now, but it is a very, very good coffee, and it's what I drink every day, not because for any other reason than I love it.
There seems to be a growing trend in Hollywood now where there's a lot of prominent product placement. It's a partnership between the companies and the film. The companies will put their product prominently in the film, and the film will receive budget support as a result of advertising. How do you, as a filmmaker, feel about this growing trend?
Bullshit. That's how I feel. Total fucking bullshit.
Once again, this is Joe Huang from AFI Dallas International Film Festival 2007, broadcasting from the W Hotel. David Lynch, thank you very much for being here.
Thanks a lot, Joe.
Pleasure.
Good talking to you.
Likewise.